well be surprised to find out that I actually want to change Char the Bearded Dragon's setup. So before we go into the how and why of changing the setup, I'll give you a bit of background to its history. So we first set it up last summer when I got Char the Bearded Dragon, and after he went into quarantine, that was when he entered his bioactive enclosure for the first time. Now at this point it didn't look particularly natural for what a bearded dragon would have in the wild, because it was just Arcadia's Earth Mix Arid, which, while it does do a good job, it's just like soil, and that is not how they live in the wild, if you've ever seen any pictures of beardies out in the outback. So it wasn't that good in that regard, and then I also didn't like it because the basking opportunities weren't so good. And so a couple of months ago we did do a complete radical change, and that was how it's looked basically for the past couple of months. Over those months I have actually had quite a few compliments saying that it looks good, and honestly I did really like how it looked myself, so why would I change it? Ignoring aesthetics, there were actually quite a few wrongs with this setup, which we'll talk about now. So, firstly, Char was hiding a lot. Having a burrow and basking and things is, going out to bask as well is perfectly fine, but it sort of got in the habit of using this hiding area in the hot zone, like, almost all the time. And so, I don't know, I felt like there wasn't something right for him to be doing that. There was something wrong in the layout. And there were a couple of things, so hopefully changing it is going to rectify that hiding issue. Then the other things that were wrong with it is that it didn't really offer very much running round space. And if you've watched any of my videos at all, you will know that Char loves to run around his enclosure. And, you know, I'd set it up in the way that I would set up a gecko or a snake's enclosure, because, well, that's what I'm used to keeping primarily. And geckos and snakes tend to explore every tiny little nook and cranny and, like, sit on very small spaces. But in the past year, I've learned that bearded dragons like to just run round on things, and if there's small little bits and pieces, they just get in the way. So whilst it did look nice, it wasn't really good for Char's freedom of movement. And then the final issue was that the basking opportunities were pretty poor. I had a big piece of cork bark in the basking zone, but whilst this did get to a nice temperature, if you covered it, say if Char sat on it or I put my hand over it, then all the heat stored in it would go really quickly, whereas what you want is for it to be a nice big heat sink, so that needed sorting. Anyway though, now that you know what was wrong with the setup and why I wanted to change it, let's get on with it. So it's now a couple of days on from when I did that time lapse, and Char has been settling in nicely to his enclosure, so I'm now going to walk you through it and we'll take a look at what I've done with it to rectify the issues I discussed before. Firstly, and purely on the basis of aesthetics, you can see that I did put some more red sand in the enclosure. Now, as I say, this was purely just for aesthetics, because I had added some red sand as like a layer on top. Ages ago, that was ProRep's Beardy Life, but it was sort of looking yellow and too mixed in with the soil, so I went ahead and added some more. Now, I do recognise that it will get mixed in again, but with the underlayer being more red than the first time I added a top layer of red sand, it should hopefully mix in and just be nice this time. And I don't really intend on adding any more substrate because there's a lot in here already, but anyway, that was the first simple change. The next big thing that we did, which was actually to sort a functional issue, was we packed all of the decorations and stuff pretty much to the back of the enclosure. Now what this does is it allows Char more freedom of movement around the front of the enclosure, and it also means that he's got better climbing opportunities, because the branches he's got, to be honest, are too thin for him to climb on properly. So adding the cork bark and stuff lets him go up it and explore, and he has been using it quite a lot, so it does seem to have been a good move. Next up was the biggest and honestly most important change, and that was with the basking zone. Because instead of having the naff cork bark that I'd put in, I've now got this slate structure which you can see, which has got 3 levels: the lowest level, a middle level, and a layer on top. Now I did actually build this myself. There was a slate behind the shed in the garden, and I had some old bits of 4x2 and some glue and stuff, and just on the off chance I just decided one day I can make a really good basking site out of this, and so I did it, and that is what spurred on making all these changes. Now, I do actually really like how this turned out. I've never broken slate up before, but I just had a chisel that I just went along with, and it was pretty easy, to be honest, and gluing it together was quick. But as you can see, it's kind of this really funky, magical Hogwarts purple type colour, which I'm not too fond on, but honestly it is functional and Char has been using it alright, so that's a win-win. So anyway guys, I'm not sure what you think of the changes to Char's setup. I mean, personally, the aesthetic of it, it's alright. I do feel like it needs some more finishing touches to it. So maybe a few botanicals, some dry palm fronds or something. Or not palm fronds, I'll put a picture up of what I'm thinking of, I can't remember what you call them. And some little roses of Jericho maybe. Just some little accent things to make it look more natural and settled in and stuff. But either way, I am really happy with it, because aesthetics aside, it's far more functional than what I had before. Basking zone's better, more space for Char to run round the front, better climbing opportunities, and this fella isn't hiding all the time. I mean, he probably will once he's dug that burrow out more, but either way, I'm happy with it for now. So anyway guys, that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. What I'm going to do now is fade out into some clips of Char running around and exploring his setup and things, because I do enjoy looking at all of that, and I know you guys like seeing Char do that stuff in the background of the videos, so hopefully you'll enjoy this. If you do really like that stuff, then I am uploading another video alongside this, because there is a lot of outtakes of Char running around and stuff, and I don't just want to delete the footage and have it gone forever, because it's he's doing all natural behaviours and stuff in it, so I thought it'd be worth sharing with you in another video. It's completely uncut, so if you're into just watching animals do their own thing, then do check out that video, and I will throw a link up to it in the end card that'll be coming up in a minute. But anyway, you've been watching JTB Reptiles, this is the end of the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.
BIOACTIVE